Welcome to Business Talk on Business Tech, where we're rapidly approaching 1 million views with this new Netflix-style business show. We recently crossed over 750,000, thanks to your support. So thank you for that, and keep on watching as we bring you some of the top business leaders in South Africa and insights into how they've been navigating the pandemic and beyond. Now, having long lagged behind much of the world in terms of e-commerce, I think what we're seeing is South African retailers and delivery startups doing a roaring trade online because consumers are just shying away from shops during the pandemic. We've got the likes of Woolies and Pick n Pay and Checkers and One Day Only all experiencing an explosion in demand. But this post-COVID boom is also straining the capacity of even the largest retailers, leaving some customers complaining of long wait times and poor service. So to talk about how the market leader in high-end food retail is finding things, it's a great pleasure to welcome now Liz Hillock, Head of Online and Mobile at Woolworths or Woolies. Liz, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Now, tell me a little bit more about your journey to head online and mobile at Woolies.
Well, I got into the e-commerce space in the early 2000s in the UK. And I actually worked for a company called QXL.com, which at the time was the second .com in the UK to launch on the stock exchange after FreeServe. And absolutely loved my time there. Thankfully learned from some wonderful pioneers really in the online space. It really was quite a different time and approach at that stage, but some of the lessons I learned then really still hold true today. And after 12 years in the UK, moved to South Africa and carried on my e-commerce journey here.
And you say it was a different time back then. I was chatting to Peter de Villiers of Clickatel the other day, and it was almost 20 years ago to the day that they invented their business model with 4 lines of code, which was to send messages from web to text, which seems so arcane now if you look at what we can do. But that was the internet 20 years ago. It's amazing how quickly things have moved. Now, Woolworths is trialing a same-day delivery service at some of its branches. It's called Woolies Dash. What has the feedback been like, and what can we expect from this venture in the next few months?
Yeah, so Woolies Dash launched just before Christmas, and it's going phenomenally well. We've launched in 18 stores as a trial. That's across Cape Town, Durban, and Joburg. We will be extending the service, and we're keeping in a trial mode because we launched the service fairly rapidly. We're the first on-demand service really to launch with full cold chain. So that was something we needed to solve before we could get to market. And when we did and when we launched, because of the rapid deployment, we said to our customers, would you like to come on the journey with us? And as I said, launched just before Christmas. We're offering free delivery during the trial, and we've had some fantastic feedback from customers. It was a bit of a rough start, I won't lie, in the beginning. There were a few kinks to iron out in the first days and weeks, but I'm really proud of the team because I think what really shows resilience is moving through that quickly and at pace to adapt the service, adapt to customers' needs and wants, and to optimize and iterate. And really that is... the ability to adapt is really something that sets any company up for success. So our App Store reviews and ratings are actually now, I think, the highest in the market if you combine both Android and Apple. But that's not to say we're resting on our laurels at all. We know we need to scale the service, and that we are doing and will be doing in the coming weeks and months, actually.
It's wonderful to hear the entrepreneurial, the almost lean startup type methodology that you're employing, which is all about iterating, getting to market quickly, and refining as you go, not waiting for everything to be perfect before you can launch. And I think that is one thing that COVID demonstrated, and in fact, in some instances, forced companies to do this because the world just changed overnight. Now, your growth in online and mobile has actually been phenomenal since the outbreak of COVID-19. Have you seen that taper off at all as people try to get back to normal habits, or have we developed new habits that have stuck?
Yeah, no, it hasn't tapered off at all. In fact, it's continuing to grow. We've seen triple-digit growth in both, in all of food, fashion, beauty, and home during lockdown periods and out of lockdown periods. And certainly we're seeing that trajectory continue into 2021. As you said, our mobile growth has been astonishing. We've got well over 1 million subscribers on our mobile app. And that's addition to the Woolies Dash app, which is running, as you said, as a separate app. It's super exciting. But I do think a new behavior is here to stay, and the way we shop. And I think it's more than just e-commerce. I think it's a shift to non-linear shopping trends. So in other words, in as many more people are starting their shop on a digital channel and completing their shop on a digital channel, i.e., full on e-commerce. There are even more that are starting on a mobile or on desktop and completing in store, or starting in store and then checking prices on a digital app. And so really it's non-linear. And I think the expectation from retailers is to offer multiple ways to access anytime, anywhere, anyhow. And that means accessing your content, accessing your pricing, store information, your rewards program, your financial services, as well as being able to shop online. And it's really bringing together a comprehensive set of services in a mobile world and an online world to cater to those needs of that flexible shopping habit. It's absolutely non-linear.
What does this mean for overall revenue share? And what sort of revenue share can we expect from online and mobile in South Africa in the coming years? Because, as you've just said, COVID really has accelerated the jump online. And quite clearly, it's still very, very early days for e-commerce in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa really has been a nascent market when it comes to e-commerce. I would say we're kind of on still day one with regards to shopping online. The latest results by Worldwide Works have just been released. You would have seen those. They stated in 2018, South Africa was at a 1.4% contribution, and in 2020 we hit a 2.8% contribution, which is way ahead of the forecast. I think they'd only forecasted to get there by sort of 2023. Thankfully, at Woolies, we've actually outpaced that growth. We've seen triple-digit growth across foods, beauty, fashion, and home. For fashion, beauty, and home, we actually exceeding 4% contribution to total sales, and we do see that trajectory continuing. I think many customers and shoppers who previously may not have tried digital now realize how easy it is to do. The safety aspect of shopping during a pandemic also holds true outside of a pandemic. So, from a payment perspective, payment is absolutely secure. There are tight delivery networks across the country. It really is just absolutely convenient. So thankfully, more people have tried the service and therefore are using it, and we're seeing the trajectory on the upward slopes.
Yeah, but it was the ultimate proof of concept, the pandemic, to get people to shop online if they'd been sitting on the sidelines and perhaps were worried about their credit card details or whether or not the things would actually be delivered. Because let's face it, if your experience is only the post office, you might be hesitant, but it's proven to be hugely convenient and successful. Have there been any new online shopping trends that have surprised you through all of this?
Well, I mean, I think the multitasking we've spoken of, I think we can all relate to not only being on an MS Team or Zoom call at the same time, doing a work meeting, at the same time dealing with an email, at the same time dealing with a WhatsApp, and probably also doing an online shop at the same time. And then that would be, hour one, hour two, you're still across all those devices, and then your doorbell constantly rings with the dog barking while you're on the line to your CEO. So I think we can all relate to that kind of change in shopping behavior. But I think, another shift that I hope will really continue is maybe a higher level of consciousness about, our well-being, about each other, about the community. And I think aligning to brands and retailers that answer to maybe a higher cause and have a solid set of values. Because, I think we can all relate to the situation we're in as a country. It's difficult. We were talking earlier about friends and colleagues that have found it extremely difficult to operate and trade during this time. There's huge inequality in the country, and so, in as much as, yes, we're seeing this increase in shopping, and online, and it's really exciting. There also needs to be a level of consciousness about where we're shopping and making sure that the brands we're supporting are responsible. And I am proud to work for a company like Woolies, because I think right from the start of the pandemic, in as much as we put our efforts and focus on accelerating, services like digital. I mean, I think we launched Click and Collect in under 3 weeks. At the same time and in parallel, also kicked off a campaign to, feed over 1 million South Africans. And as I said, delivery services can become a utility. And at the end of the day, behind that utility is the brand. And I do think there's a higher consciousness from customers, and that is something I really hope will continue. The other thing to mention, in this theme is our store staff and every other retailer out there who also has, so many staff who've been everyday heroes. And I think sometimes as customers, we take that for granted. And certainly when I do go to store, almost just to say, hey, thank you, it's been so difficult for our frontline staff. And every day I'm humbled. I'm absolutely humbled by, the way that certainly our teams have shown up, and as I said, the gratitude that customers have also expressed. Consciousness and community, I think, really is something that I hope will continue as a silver lining out of what has been obviously a very difficult time.
Yeah, that very dark cloud does have that as a silver lining, and to feed into the online component of that. When you as a consumer and you say it's a utility, now you in front of your desktop, you can quickly flick from one brand to another. You're not limited by geographic space or being in the wrong mall. And actually the shop I want to support isn't in this mall, so I'm not going to. It actually lowers barriers. And I do think we'll start to see a more conscious consumerism as a result. And hopefully that will lead to more brands following Woolworths' example. I was chatting to the CFO of Dis-Chem the other day. They've lost just under 60 frontline staff during the pandemic. And I think those staff who worked in the essential services, like the retailers, like your own, are the real heroes, along with the nurses and all the other frontline workers who kept the economy going through a very difficult time. So great points, those, Liz. When you look at historical trends, potentially that now we'll never see again, thanks to online and e-commerce, are there any that readily spring to mind?
I can't imagine a world where a mobile telephone doesn't play some part of your shopping journey. Whether it's checking stock, comparing prices, actually completing the shop online, QR code scanning an item and looking at its credentials. I really think, as I've said, our mobile commerce has grown astonishingly. And I can't imagine a world where that recedes in any way. I think it's going to accelerate even further and morph more into the worlds of connected retail and payments. And I think there's so many exciting new services and initiatives that'll be unlocked through mobile commerce.
Yeah, and that QR code, you could scan a label, see the entire value chain. Was it sourced ethically? Was it produced in an ethical manner? What is the environmental footprint of what I'm consuming? And all of these things are really positive. When it comes to changing habits, there was a period where in the lockdown, I think some beauty retailers were saying we're not selling much lipstick anymore because everyone's behind a mask. Is that the kind of thing that you're seeing? And how have you seen changes potentially in food buying as a result of the pandemic?
Yeah, we have seen a shift in behavior. Certainly at the start of lockdown, there was a big increase in, as an example, scratch cooking. So there was suddenly a big run on exotic spices. And then, of course, there was the wine legislation. So as soon as those lockdowns were lifted, an enormous spike in wine sales. But something we've actually seen emerge out of lockdown is actually the increased sales in non-alcoholic beers and wines as well, which is pretty interesting.
So that is
and then on the fashion beauty, On the fashion, beauty, and home side, of course, I mean, we've seen a big shift to athleisure. So less formal wear, more casual, comfortable wear, which I think we can all relate to. And of course, for departments like for departments like beauty, it's been a big impact, because you can no longer sample products in store, and we need to keep our customers safe and healthy. So what we've actually just launched 2 weeks ago is a virtual try-on service and a virtual consultation service. It's really exciting and fun. So if you go onto the Woolies site, look for the products that have try-on. It's an augmented reality service. And I think the difference is, compared to previous, augmented reality type offerings, is it's so easy. So you simply upload a picture or take a selfie and just play with the color swatches. And again, the difference in this tool on other augmented reality tools I think we've seen in the past, is not just its simplicity, but its accuracy. So it really does a good job of placing eyeshadow and lip color in the right place, which is exciting. And then in virtual consultations, we've partnered with Estee Lauder and Clarins to bring that personal touch, because in as much as it's fun and easy to try on things digitally, customers do want a human touch. And we do have experts in store that customers want to benefit from. So you can now book a digital appointment and get personalized skincare advice from the experts in store. Yeah, and that's across all of our brands. I think from the beauty perspective, I think quite a lot of South Africans are aware of how much it's expanded at Woolies, but I still think many are not aware as to the extent to which the beauty offering has expanded. We now stock everything from Chanel to Clinique, Bobbi Brown, etc. And so this is now more important for us, and it's a first of its kind for a retailer in South Africa. I guess in another example of just kind of pioneering new and exciting ways to shop, reinventing the way you shop post a pandemic.
Well, I'm going to be telling the woman in my life all about that straight after this, because it has been the one drawback through the pandemic, that you can't go in and do the samples. And in another life, I actually worked at Red Square as one of my first ever jobs. So I understand how important samples are to the whole process of being able to go and try things on. So to be able to sample virtually, I think, is an absolute revolution, and just another example of the way businesses have innovated through this pandemic. It sounds like there's a lot of big tech, AI, machine learning, that kind of thing. How are you using these new technologies, big data as well, for example, just to drive innovation and customer experience?
Yeah, I think innovation cuts across everything from operations and backstage environments like supply chain through to front-end products like what we've just talked about in virtual beauty. And I think some of the biggest innovations are actually backstage, be it data or supply chain. So I think one example is on Woolies Dash, where we've pioneered a cold chain, a flexible cold chain tote, as an example. It looks like a normal cold chain to the naked eye, but it's absolutely not a normal cold chain. It's an astonishing piece of technology which holds our cold chain standards, which are incredibly robust for the period of time we need. But the point is being in a flexible carrier bag, which our shoppers and the scooter drivers can use. So that's one example of kind of backstage technology, but which is really quite exciting. And I think maybe we get more excited about it than others do, because you realize what goes into making something like that work. And we spoke about delivery being a utility, and I kind of do believe that. And everyone will have a delivery service, and it's about innovating on your core and holding true to your values. So, for example, in this instance, Woolies is always known for freshness and quality. Yeah. And if you start to degrade that, yes, get to market quickly, but if you start to degrade your core values and what you're known for in freshness and quality, what are you left with? So I think that's an example of managing accelerated, services to market, but not compromising on your core products. And you have to innovate in the space to do that. From a data perspective, we are absolutely making big strides here. We already use obviously, Woolworths is quite a complex business. We don't only just run food, it's fashion, beauty, home, loyalty, Woolworths financial services. Those systems are all connected. But our vision really is to move into the cloud. And we have multiple projects on the go to enable that. And thankfully, our leadership really understands the value of data and how it transforms into being able to offer our customers a better service, better products. And so we are getting the investment, and it's quite an exciting journey we're on.
It so often requires that buy-in from almost a C-suite level, a sponsor who's going to allow you the budget to go and to fail and iterate and try new things. And that really is the heartbeat of innovation. And wonderful to hear that Woolies is thinking along those lines. Can you give us a glimpse into what we might expect from you in the innovation space in the future in terms of things that you're working on at the moment?
Well, Michael, we'd have to arrange another interview for that. We do actually have quite a few very exciting initiatives in the pipeline. One will be launching in the next week, I would imagine. But as soon as it launches, you'll be the first to know. But as you said, I'm really inspired by our leadership and the adaptation to, as you said, working in a more agile way, giving us the space to test and learn a little bit, and really the investment to grow this channel. It's incredibly exciting. And also thanks to our customers who've been on the journey with us. New services like Dash are, yes, they're newsworthy and they're doing well, but we've been in the market for a long time, and really it's not just, as I said, about one service or one channel. It's about multiple services and multiple channels, and really how do you bring this all together in a world of connected retail or omni-channel. So for example, if you look at the Dash service, that service and any other on-demand service is a service that's a local delivery operational model. So it's going to be within 5 to 7 kilometers of a store. It's only going to be a top-up shop to the point that you're going to only offer about 30 items as an example per cart, because anything bigger or anything further away is going to take too long to deliver. Yeah. So really it augments the other services, and that being click and collect, which we've launched and got in over 80 stores in South Africa, as well as our regular delivery service, because in the USP of that service, as an example, would be much bigger shops with drivers able to go much further afield, so to more regional areas. So as I said, one big innovation is great, but it augments thankfully already well-established services, and how do we now bring this all together in the world of connected retail and omni-channel? And I think that is the retail gold, and really will offer the best customer experience. So I'm excited to obviously keep pioneering and with the team keep delivering new services into the space, and really building on the solid framework that we have.
And so much work that goes in behind the scenes. Liz Hillock, Head of Online and Mobile at Woolies, thanks so much for giving us a glimpse into what you're doing behind the scenes to stay ahead of the pack and to keep on pioneering and delivering the values and the quality that Woolies has become so synonymous with in the local market. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Great to be here.